Hello, today I'm going to be showing you how to change your oil on your 2021 Camry. This will also be good for 2018 and up until today. Let's get started. I'm going to be using factory Toyota oil. It's also basically just Mobil 1 and then a factory oil filter. I like to take my cap off, put it right here, and pull that out. Just as a reminder that I haven't put oil back in. Alright, first thing you got to remove this cover, plastic cover down here. There's 4 10mm bolts that need to be taken out to take it out. And it comes right out. So I always like to visually check this tunnel here, just to make sure there's no obstructions. Its purpose is to help cool up under there. Alright, most Toyota oil drain plugs are 14mm. So let's go ahead and take that off. And the gasket's stuck on there, up on the oil pan, so I'll wait till it drains off and then use a fine tip flathead to pry it off. Alright, as you can see, it's just a little drip. I like to wait till I get to that drip. So a lot of people will sit there and tell you, don't waste your time waiting, but I mean, I got time, so I am going to get this little gasket off. Oh, it just went in the oil. I'll have to fish that out later. Alright, so now I'm going to go get the new gasket that came with the Toyota filter and put it on the drain plug. Alright, here's what that little gasket looks like. Every time I change the oil, I replace this. It goes on just like so. Alright. Drain plug back up in there. Alright, to tighten the oil drain plug bolt, you're going to torque it to 30 foot-pounds. So, in correlation to the oil drain plug, the oil filter is right up here. And I have a tool to get the filter off. They make multiple kind of tools, but this is the one I use. So, let's get to that. Okay, so I have it around the oil filter. You grab it and obviously turn to the left, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. So, sorry, I'm trying to do this with one hand with filming with the other hand, so it's kind of difficult. As you can see, it's starting to turn. It's going to start leaking oil, so put a drain pan underneath there. And then, once it's loose enough, you can spin it right off. Start leaking oil here soon. Okay. So I'm gonna let that drain for a few minutes, and I'm gonna go get the new oil filter ready. So while that's draining, here's the new oil filter from Toyota. That's the part number. One cool thing about the factory oil filter from Toyota is it actually comes pre-greased in the gasket, so you don't have to put oil on it. All right, it's all done draining. Let's take her on out. There'll be a little more that spills out. Just dump it. I just set it over there on a napkin. Again, these new oil filters from Toyota come pre-greased and lubricated on the gasket, which is nice. I don't really prime the filter. I know a lot of people will say, you gotta prime the filter. I mean, you can, but with this oil filter, it goes on sideways, so you could be spun a lot of oil and stuff. Is it really worth it? I don't know. You can do it if you want, but I'm not gonna. I wipe down the surface where the oil filter goes, and then here's the new one. Got it started, and these oil filters, once you feel them tight like this, give them about a quarter turn, and that's all you need. So the manual says this car takes 4.8 quarts of oil. However, I've noticed that it shows perfectly on the dipstick around 4.5. So I normally add 4.5 first and then check. All right, so now we got the drain bolt torqued to spec and the oil filter on. It's time to add the oil. Again, I'm gonna add 4.5 quarts and then we'll go from there. All right, so I added 4.5 quarts. Let's go ahead. Put this on. Start it, let it run for a second, take it off the ramps, turn it off, let it sit for a minute or two, then check the level. Actually, before I take it off the ramps, I just forgot we have to put this plastic guard back on. When you're putting this back on, this little piece right here, just make sure it goes up on top of this. So, just like that. Get all 4 of these started. Then we'll zip it in with my electric ratchet. If you're lucky enough to have one. Make life a lot easier. Alright. And we'll pull this out from underneath here, this drain pan. Alright, after double checking before I started, drain plugs on, filters on, oil caps closed, dipsticks down, 4.5 quarts added. Started the car, let it run for a few minutes, take it off the ramps, turn it off, let it sit for a few minutes. I like to let it sit for a few minutes just because I want all that oil to drain back down to the oil pan to get an accurate reading when I check the level. From then on, all you got to do is just check your level, make sure it's correct. 4.5 for this engine normally puts it out about right where it needs to be. For some reason, the 4.8 is just a tad bit high from what I've noticed. So I hope this video helps. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. The one thing additionally I will say before I end the video is, and I can say this because I've worked on many Toyota engines, and especially the 2A RFE, which is in a lot of earlier Camrys before this one. So a lot of the times, you know, the manufacturer's going to recommend you change the oil every 10,000 miles. I highly advise against that. Change it every 5,000 miles or 6 months, whichever comes first. I'm sure someone will jump down in the comments saying, oh, I went 10,000. You know, that's great for you, but I see it as cheap assurance. So I'll leave that one up to you. I'm just telling you, from what I've seen, the 10,000 mile oil changes for normal driving, if you have city driving, is just terrible. It gums up and seizes the rings, start gouging at the walls, and cars start drinking oil. So it's cheap assurance. I'll leave it up to you though. Again, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Thanks.